Hello everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the weekly report. President Trump's Iran policy, is it normal? It's not often that U.S. government officials are honest when they talk about our foreign policy. The unprovoked 2003 attack on Iraq was called a liberation. The 2011 U.S.-led destruction of Libya was a humanitarian intervention, and so on. So in a way, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was refreshingly honest last week when, speaking about newly imposed U.S. sanctions, he told the BBC that the Iranian leadership has to make a decision that they want their people to eat. It was an honest admission that new U.S. sanctions are designed to starve Iranians unless the Iranian leadership accepts U.S. demands. His statement also reveals the length to which the neocons are willing to go to get their regime change in Iran. Just like then Secretary of State Madeleine Albright said it was worth it that 500,000 Iraqi children died because of our sanctions on that country, Pompeo is letting us know that a few million dead Iranians is also worth it if the government in Tehran can be overthrown. The U.S. Secretary of State has demanded that Iran act like a normal country, or the U.S. would continue its pressure until Iran's economy crumbles. How twisted is U.S. foreign policy that Washington considers it normal to impose sanctions specifically designed to make life miserable or worse for civilians? Is it normal to threaten millions of people with starvation if their leaders refuse to bow down to U.S. demands? Is the neoconservative obsession with regime change normal behavior? Is training and arming al-Qaeda in Syria to overthrow Assad normal behavior? If so, then perhaps Washington's neocons have a point. As Iran is not imposing sanctions, is not invading its neighbors, is not threatening to starve millions of Americans unless Washington is regime change. Perhaps Iran is not acting normal. So what is normal? The continued Saudi genocide in Yemen does not bother Washington a bit. In fact, Saudi aggression in Yemen is viewed as just another opportunity to strike out at Iran. By making phony claims that Yemen's Houthis are Iran-backed, the U.S. government justifies literally handing the Saudis the bombs to drop on Yemeni school buses while claiming it is fighting Iranian-backed terrorism. Is that normal? Millions of Yemenis face starvation after 3 years of Saudi attacks have destroyed the economy, and a Saudi blockade prohibits aid from reaching the suffering victims. But Secretary Pompeo recently blamed Yemeni starvation on, you guessed it, Iran. And in a shocking display of cynicism, the U.S. government is reportedly considering listing Yemen's Houthis as a terrorist organization for the crime of fighting back against Saudi and U.S. aggression. Labeling the Yemeni resistance a terrorist organization would effectively legalize the ongoing Saudi destruction of Yemen, as it would be justified as just another battle in the war on terror. It would also falsely identify the real culprits in the Yemeni tragedy as Iran, which is repeatedly and falsely called the #1 sponsor of terrorism by Pompeo and the rest of the Trump administration neocons. So yes, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo told one wicked truth last week. But before he demands that countries like Iran start acting normal or face starvation, perhaps he should look at the mirror. Are Pompeo and the neocons normal? I don't think so. Thanks for listening.